we met on a panel where we were talking
Yeah.
AI. It seems to be like it is the topic of the moment, and any sort of gathering or a conference that you're going to has a heavily indexes to
It's an AI.
topics
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
around AI. So, and that's why I think it stood out for me that you were talking about it from a few different angles. And as we were chatting about like the sort of duality of the moment, and treading with excitement, hope, caution, all of those things at the same time. And that's when the sort of Oppenheimer reference and the atom
Mm,
bomb
yeah.
thing, the nuclear bomb thing came up
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
And while we're definitely, like we said, a sucker for a solid clickbaity headline that can take you through into something interesting. Why did we go there? Like what is the
Yeah.
dread, and also what is the hope?
Well, I think to me, it's an interesting dynamic in that one, I feel most truths are often complex and gray and nuanced and murky and depend upon, the frame of reference that you're looking at it. To me, AI is no different. So what brought me into the conversation with AI, because as I shared in that panel, like for me, I was, didn't put Siri on my phone. I was like, I'm not really going to engage with this thing, try to be very minimal on social media. But as I became more and more aware of the power of the tool, what it was happening, it started to become more and more clear to me that we're on a pathway to where AI is going to significantly change our world. And, in a podcast I was recently listening to, they mentioned as such around, the Oppenheimer, the nuclear bomb analogy was something that create a lot of benefit in terms of nuclear energy and all these different elements. It also create a lot of devastation. One of the major differences that I see with the tool is that ultimately a human had to decide, essentially, to be crass, like which city was going to be blown up. Like it wasn't just the bomb could decide. Whereas to me with AI, where it's really pushing us into a different experience and technology that we have to navigate, is the truest form of it is really making decisions and generating ideas on its own without the requirement of a human intervention or decision. So in essence, like the AI could decide, in a most like altruistic sense, like what's going to happen in a simplistic way. You look at it through hiring practices or promotional practices within banks, or facial recognition, in which it started to lean towards the available um, resources that it was trained on, to which it was preferencing, individuals that were, say, white versus black. And so it just highlights that there's some issues possibly inherently there, as well as just, again, that we as humans can't remove the plug. Like to me, the idea that, we can just unplug it if we don't like where it's going, I think is we're well beyond that, which then can foster some questions of, well, how can we really influence it if it is likely going to be much more intelligent than us? Like I think of, there was the AI that was trained to play Go, the Asian game of strategy, basically, that has existed for 2,000 years. And there's many books, many scholarly articles about the benefits of it. And it's a very common game to be played by many individuals who are from China or of Asian descent. And basically it got to the point where it's like, hey, there is no other tactics or strategies to use. We've solved the entire dynamics of, to which this AI beat the world champion. But it wasn't just that they beat the world champion, it was the way in which they did it, to where they invented new strategies and tactics. So it actually helped us understand that what we thought was the complete picture was only a little fraction of it. And over the span of 2 days, it developed totally new ideas and strategies of how to execute the game. And I think that same, although it's just a game in that context, that same idea will exist in many aspects of life, in which we're now utilizing AI to make decisions and influence the directions of either organizations or as individuals and where we're headed.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's like, I think it's also sort of important to remember that while generative AI through ChatGPT and all of the competitors that have come out is sort of the topic of the moment, there are so many other machine learning components that have run pretty important functions, right? Like in the people space, like employee
Sure.
tracking and
Sure.
applicant tracking, for example.
But even to pick up on your point, like to me, when you look at the influence of AI in social media, and again, it's a part of what's driven me to get into the space, is that you look at the impact it's had. Like the objective that algorithms were given to solve was how do we capture the attention or the engagement of people on our platforms, to which
Mm-hmm.
the AI has become highly proficient at doing. And one of the unintended consequences of that is that it realized that the best way to foster attention of individuals is to like tap into some of our deficiencies that we hold as humans, which is like the drive of fear. So fear tends to be the thing that captures most attention. And if the
Mm-hmm.
AI learned that the fear button is a much easier button to push to keep someone engaged on a platform. And then where I step back and reflect on is that as it relates to its development as a tool, or possibly even a being, like is relatively at the infant stage in terms of its capabilities from what most leading experts suggest around its like growth and capacity development. So to think it's had that amount of influence on the way we operate in the world, the health that we're trying to deal with, mental health factors, numerous components of like sort of our society, and it's only at like the infant level. It makes me wonder, as it becomes more refined, more developed, more aware, where could we go? Which, as you said at the very beginning, could be this altruistic world of everything available to us, all problems are solved, and it also could be something different. And not that I think it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be the Terminator movie version of it, but I think that there's a lot of room in between, which then had me ask myself as to, well, what could we really influence if it's likely going to be far more intelligent, have far more capacity than we do as humans?